And away we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you happen to be in the world today, welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It's time once again for Coffee Talk Live. And if you are watching or listening somewhere else, you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That's at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at noon, as we get ready to jump off and see what's going on in the world today. And of course, I do try to read through as many of the comments as is reasonable. And I'll go ahead and acknowledge some of the people that are chiming in so far. I see Donna is here, who wants people to do a thumbs up, like, and share. Yes, please do if you don't mind. Helter is here. Rodney, all the way from New Zealand. Dragon is here. And H12 is here, as we get ready to dig into the realm of the ridiculous that is our world and see what is going on. See what's going on in the world today. And Raccoon is here. And H12 says they are an old lady with cats. That's okay. I'm an old man with cats. Cyberjack Sr. is here, as well as Sven in Michigan. There's no cats in the room. There's no cats in the room right now, I don't think. They're hiding. They're hiding from me. They're hiding from me. And we'll start shifting around here. And I have some other news I got to bring up later, but taking a look at just traditional news at first. And this is something that was already talked about. This news is from like Tuesday. But it's important to mention it, and it hadn't been brought up because of all that's been going on that we've been discussing where President Trump was concerned. NBC News article, Florida judge dismisses Trump classified documents case. Saw that coming a mile away. And D-Lo is here. Glad you could make it. Saw that coming a mile away because every case that was against him was a blown up case in the first place. I mean, the case in New York with the so-called hush money trial, they manipulated the law to make it work. And there was a lot going on here too, and the judge threw it out. So, article reads, federal judge overseeing Trump's classified documents dismissed the case against the former president Monday on the grounds that the appointment of and funding for special counsel Jack Smith was illegal. Big surprise. I'm not surprised at all because the case with Fani Willis is extremely questionable, as is the case against him in New York. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, a Trump nominee, said in her 93-page decision, wow, that's a lot, that Smith's appointment was unlawful and unconditional. The clerk is directed to close. She issued the decision on the first day of the Republican National Convention, 2 days after an attempt against Donald Trump. Trump praised the ruling, I bet he did, in a statement that referred to Saturday's shooting and said other criminal cases against him should be tossed out as well. A source who spoke directly with Trump said he was surprised but very happy with Cannon's decision. I would be too. The dismissal of the case deviates from the uniform conclusion of all previous courts to have considered the issue that Attorney General is statutorily authorized to appoint a special counsel. Spokesperson Peter Carr said in a statement the Justice Department has authorized the special counsel to appeal the court's order, which they are trying to appeal. Judge Cannon today restored the rule of law and made the right call for America, Keyes said in the statement, whoever Keyes is, from the outlet. The Attorney General and Special Counsel have ignored critical constitutional restrictions on the exercise of the prosecutorial power of the United States, which is what it was. It was blown up, just like what's going on with the trial with Fani Willis. trying to make it seem like he was hijacking an election, as is the case with Bragg in New York, where they twisted the law to force it to work, to try to force it to work. And I see Monkey has joined us. And everybody praised that. And I'm like, you're happy that the law was manipulated to persecute someone because you don't like them? Then don't complain when it happens to you. Because it's not like this is a special situation. I've seen many examples where the law was twisted to make something fit, to force something to fit. This is just, it's just that this happens to be very high profile because of who it is. They forced it to fit. It can't stick. It's going to have to be overturned at some point. And Fluke Man has joined us as well. But in case nobody saw that, because of everything else that's been going on, that case has been thrown out now, which stands to reason. I mean, if he had documents he was entitled to have access to, versus Biden, who had documents going back more than 30 years, if I remember correctly, all the way back to when he was a senator, sitting in his garage and nobody seemed to care. Apples and oranges, but you can make an argument that that's the same thing. Same difference. Same difference. And Rodney says Democrats have been using lawfare against Trump for the last 8 years and against many others for much longer. Yeah. Because, I mean, he's basically joining the club here. He's basically joining the club with that. It's high profile, but it's done to the little guy all the time. People are railroaded in court all the time. They're steamrolled by detectives, by district attorneys. They're given unfair deals. They have judges' privilege, where a deal is made with the DA and then the judge says, well, you didn't make a deal with me, so screw you and your deal, and then messes the person over anyways, even after papers were signed. People get screwed in court all the time. All the time. It just happened to happen to a high-profile individual, in this case, Donald Trump. Doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all, but it's proper that that be thrown out. The other cases should be thrown out as well. Bragg, guaranteed. He says, if I'm made district attorney, I guarantee I'll get Trump, and he did. And he twisted the law to pull it off. And again, people are championing that. And I'm like, is that what you really want? The law to be twisted just because you don't like somebody? Again, don't complain when it happens to you, because it could. You could be on the receiving end of that one day. You could find out the hard way what that looks like, and you won't have the kind of money that Trump does to be able to afford the legal coverage that he has. No one will help you when it's your turn. No one will help you. And Justin Case has joined us. Thanks for joining us today. This is something that, this next item is something that needs to come up, because in case anybody thinks it has anything to do with the RNC, it does not. It does not. CNN police from Ohio fatally shoot 43-year-old Samuel Sharp Jr. near the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. It's unrelated. It's unrelated. It was caught on body camera too. Ohio police officers who were in Milwaukee to help with security at the RNC shot and killed 43-year-old man Tuesday, who local authorities said had knives in both hands and was trying to attack another man. And again, there's full camera footage of this. The officers from Columbus, Ohio saw a man with 2 knives involved in an altercation with an unarmed man and went to intervene. The suspect refused commands to drop the knives and then charged the other man. 5 officers opened fire, killing the assailant, according to the chief. Quote, someone's life was in danger. Norman said at the news conference, Norman being the chief of police, I believe, in Milwaukee. These officers who are not from this area took it upon themselves to act to save someone's life today. 2 knives were recovered at the scene, Norman says. Authorities believe the initial altercation was not related to the convention. And this was a homeless guy. This is a homeless guy that actually lives in a tent in the park across the street from the RNC, by the way. Nature Nerd said the Republican convention, my grandmother has 19 guns and I have plots of land in a cemetery in Kentucky. Okay, so they'll be voting. And Flukeman says, anyone heard about the Institute for Justice on ScrewTube? They seem genuine between right and wrong. I'm not familiar with them. I'm not familiar with them. It says the incident happened at the convention's outer security perimeter within the zone where officers were assigned. So it wasn't that close. Chief released video from body-worn cameras of one officer involved. A 31-second video begins partially blurred, starts with the officers engaging in a briefing before turning their attention to the altercation involving 2 men. He has a knife. Yes, he does, one officer says. They immediately draw weapons and run towards the altercation, yelling at the man to drop the knife. As they came near, one man holding something in each hand appeared to move towards the other man. The video shows the officers fire. He falls to the ground. And it's Samuel Sharp Jr., 43 years old. This is a picture of him. And again, apparently, he is some homeless guy that lives in a tent across the street in the park that had claimed that other homeless people were threatening to kill him and his dog previously, because they've interviewed his sister, I believe. But that did happen at the RNC, but evidently is not associated with anything at the RNC. It wasn't an attempt. It wasn't an attack. Flukeman, according to the extreme left, he's not homeless if he's in a tent. Yeah, there you go. He's an unhoused person. Unhoused person. That's what they want to call him. Unhoused person. That's the terminology they like to use now. The big news, which opens up, put your foil hats on. It's conspiracy theory time. Conspiracy theory time for this one. And it has to do with Biden. I'm sure most of you have heard by now that Biden is in quarantine. Okay, NBC News article, Biden tests positive for C virus and will be self-isolated in Delaware, according to the White House. Oh my, get the foil hats out, ladies and gentlemen. 4 scenarios, and this is what's flying around. Scenario number 1, he actually got sick. Fair enough, that's A. This is your A. And you can pick, everybody who's watching, you can type which one of these 4 when I'm done, okay? Wait till I'm done if you think this is the correct answer. A, he's actually legitimately just got sick. B, this is a way for him to duck out. He's not sick at all, but he won't hide for a while. His handlers don't want him in front of another camera because he looks ridiculous. And he was like, oh, all right, I'll pretend to be sick and I'll just hide for a week or 2 or 3. C, they made him sick on purpose to try to convince him to bow out and let someone else run before it gets to be too late. It's already too late. It's July. Elections are in November. And D, the big one, they made him sick on purpose so they can erase him. They're going to Hillary him. So take your pick. A, B, C, or D, folks. What do you think it is? A, he's really sick. B, he's faking it because he wants to stay off camera, or they want him to stay off camera. C, they made him sick to convince him to let Kamala run or Gavin Newsom or whoever, or D, and again, this is all speculation, D, they're trying to 86 the old warship. And Raccoon is the first one in. Raccoon thinks that he's faking it. And I guess Nature Nerd thinks he's sick too. It says he doesn't want to do more debates, so he's sick. Yeah. Cyberjack thinks it's B. And just in case, an old guy thinks it's the worst scenario, D. Rodney says C's. They're not, Dems aren't subtle. Now Biden is sick. We have to swap him with whoever. Yeah. Dragon says Kamala with the Obama's endorsement incoming. So she thinks it's C. Or Dragon thinks it's C. H12 says B. And D-Lo says all of the above. There's no all of the above. Sorry. But he thinks D. Okay. Oh, my. There you go, guys. Helter says his theory is that he threw a temper tantrum when they told him to back out, so he's gone to Delaware to lick his wounds. No way they allow him back after this. So that would still fall under B, though, that he's in it. Donna says B. It's too convenient. All people says B, so he can pretend to have dementia and the C virus. I'm still saying C virus after all these years. I have to, and I'll get into that in a minute. Let me finish with this article, and I'll explain to you, because something else has happened on ScrewTube to me. So President Joe Biden tested positive for C virus on Wednesday while in Las Vegas for a series of events, the White House says. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said Biden tested positive following his first event in Las Vegas. Yeah, and you know how reliable she is. He is vaccinated and boosted, and he's experiencing mild symptoms, Pierre said. He'll be returning to Delaware, where he will self-isolate and will continue to carry out all of his duties fully during that time. Like doing what? Getting up at 10 in the morning, taking his pills, eating waffles, sitting in a chair with a blanket over his legs and watching The Price is Right. The White House will provide regular updates on the president's status as he continues to carry out the full duties of the office while in isolation. Biden was already scheduled to head to Delaware after his trip to Las Vegas. How convenient! Biden was tested after experiencing upper respiratory symptoms, according to a statement by Biden's doctor released by the White House. Dr. Kevin O'Connor is the president's physician, though the White House did not attribute the statement to him by name. I bet he has upper respiratory problems all the time. Oh, Cyberjack feels bad for him. He says, poor baby. Do you think he has a sippy cup? And just in case is stuck somewhere between C and D, make up his mind. Monkey says D. Oh my God. Hey, I should do that as a survey. Cyberjack says walking around naked. You think he's walking around naked, or do you think he needs a blanket? Rodney says, or a Snuggie. Who remembers Snuggie? The bathrobe you put on backwards? Rodney says, does anyone else remember when vaccines were tested and proven effective before widespread deployment? No, I don't remember that. And just in case says he doesn't want to give up the power that easy, or shall I say his wife doesn't. Well, his wife is still the babysitter. Still the babysitter. Now, is anyone watching on Coffee Talk? I made a statement on X warning people, because it came up here briefly a second ago, all right, that yesterday I was up to my eyeballs in trouble with ScrewTube, and they actually suspended me. But that's been overturned now. I didn't think I'd be able to podcast. So ScrewTube hit me, and they took down Tuesday's video from both channels. But Coffee Talk got the sanction, not Prepper University, which is typical. Usually Coffee Talk takes all the hits and Prepper University gets a slide, even though they're still not sending out notifications to anyone there. Again, it's almost 67,000 subscribers on Prepper University, but the last video I put up has like 400 views. Nobody's getting notifications. And Cyberjack says he's on Coffee Talk. He's on Coffee Talk, yeah. So they hit me, and they gave me all the bells and whistles. And the accusation was that that particular video was removed and that I'm on probation because, and I will not be able to use the site for a week. This is what they told me, because I presented previous information as if it was current information, which I don't know what the hell that means. That's a total word salad. And Rodney says they have both Prepper University and Coffee Talk streaming with one muted. Thank you, Rodney. And H12 says he remembers the old vaccine. One was a sugar cube polio. Sugar cube. But so I appealed, and I got a response within less than 2 minutes saying that after careful reconsideration and reviewing, which I don't know how they could have done in less than 2 minutes. Even the algorithm can't do that, because when you load a video, it's usually, the rule of thumb is 1 minute for every 10 minutes of video for the algorithm to speed check it. So an hour and 2 minute video, you can't check that quick. So they say that they checked it again and they decided that they were right and they're upholding their decision. Then I hear, yeah, Nature Nerdy says previous information is wrong, so you can't say it. I don't know what the hell that even means. And they won't tell you. They don't have to tell you. They don't have to tell you. And old one guy says he got his notification on Bolt today. I'm shocked. I really am. Because, you know, this has been an ongoing battle for about 2.5 years, where I get hit with something every single day. Every day. Yesterday was just really bad. But then I get I get information that, okay, well, we took another look and decided it wasn't as bad as we thought. So we'll lift the sanction and take, and they want me to take a class, okay, 15-minute class with 7 questions, and then I'll and then which I did, and now it's like a 90-day probation or something like that. It's ridiculous. Point being, we could get to a point between those two channels, because keep in mind, neither of those channels have moved in almost 3 years. 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, Prepper University was at 67,000. Now it's 66.5. Coffee Talk was at about 13,000 subscribers. Now it's like 12.5, something like that. It's not being allowed to move. ScrewTube is crushing both of those channels. They have been for a long time. They're not sending notifications out to a lot of people. They don't put the videos in the feeds. I get strikes and warnings all the time on it doesn't even matter what I'm doing. And Nature Nerd says that he bets the podcast would do better on X. Well, it was podcasting to X, but X changed the rules, and now I can't cast to X. But I was sharing it on X. But still, we're getting to a point where I might just be gone. Either they're going to find an excuse to throw me out, or I'm going to get so fed up with them diminishing my quality of life with all the frustration that I'm just going to be like, okay, you win, because I can't afford to fight them. You know, I'm not Mr. Beast or somebody like that. And Fluke says possible prepper subscribers not watching because it has nothing to do with prepping. But the prepping videos were, you know, when I was still doing dedicated videos, they weren't circulating. I went from getting tens of thousands of views to getting 300 or 400. And it stayed like that. If you go through and you look at the video history, I just stopped bothering to make videos there because nobody was being allowed to see it. And Nature Nerd says you uploading to Rumble. I was. This is supposed to be sharing with Rumble, but they keep turning it off. And so it hasn't been sharing to Rumble for a couple of months now. Not that anybody's there either. If I put a video on Rumble, it'll get like 6 views. It's a waste of time. And Raccoon says, start giving away generators and you'll see YouTube favor your channel just like the other, like the other prepper channels. No kidding. No kidding. But it's getting to a point where it's such a headache, or they're going to nail me anyways. They're going to nail me anyways. So just giving you a heads up. Yesterday was really hairy. Rodney says several people that they watch have hundreds of thousands of followers on Rumble. Not sure if you get any ad revenue there, though. You certainly wouldn't get censored. They'll get you too. It depends. But there's just no audience. I haven't been able to tap into an audience on Rumble at all. And so, you know, when it turns off, because you set it up to share directly from the ScrewTube stream, or if I put up a ScrewTube video, it's supposed to share directly, and they keep shutting it back off again. They keep shutting it back off again. So Rumble was just getting to be a headache as well. Rumble was getting to be a headache as well. But and H12 says they get notifications. But and I think it's Coffee Talk 2 on Rumble. But yeah, just the heads up that you could come in one day and then there'll be nothing there. And it's yeah, Cyberjack says DDS David derangement syndrome. I guess they don't like me, especially on Coffee Talk more so, because Coffee Talk's the one that gets all the hits. Prepper University just gets not shared and ignored, and it's a shame because both of them were really up and coming. People liked what was on those channels. And also in response to the what Fluke Man had said, more people are watching on Prepper University than Coffee Talk, the live stream. It's like 4 times as many people. You can't see it on your end, but on my analytics I can see it, because on the analytics it'll say something like 46 views when you look at the screen. But from my side, it'll say something like 172, because for some reason it doesn't show accurate numbers on the outside of the video. But and Nature says he's been listening to Stefan Molyneux on Rumble for years. Yeah, he brought a big audience. A lot of those guys like Russell Brand and everybody, they brought an audience there. I don't have an audience to bring. I can't even reach everybody because it's not shared. And so I just put that general warning out. I have another channel that is hobby related that they never touch. They never touch it. And I actually prefer doing that one because there's no politics there, so there's nothing to get frustrated about, which is probably why they don't mess with it. And that one is a front runner, actually. That other channel is a front runner. So if I ever disappear from these, I'll be on the hobby channel. I'll be on the hobby channel instead, as we get ready to get back to the news. Yeah, see, just in case says right now it's showing only 8 people on Prepper University. But on here, I think it's set, what does it say? 21? Yeah, it's not accurate. It never is. So CBS News article when it's ready, whenever Restream gets it booted up here. Because this is the latest excuse for the incident on Saturday. CBS News article, tree may have blocked sniper's view of Trump rally gunman, according to maps. Yes. And Nature Nerd says also Michael Savage website works pretty well for his audio podcast. And this is something, again, you know, Fistful of Radio, would like to see me keep going, even though they can't. I don't get any compensation from Fistful of Radio because I don't have a sponsor. But they like the podcast. They like it, but what am I going to do? So now they're arguing. This is the latest from the Secret Service, that the reason that there are two sniper nests, and here's the map. There are two sniper nests. Were unable to spot Thomas was because that tree blocked them. See it? It says tree possibly blocking Secret Service line of sight. And then the two boxes on the two rooftops that were behind the stage demonstrate where the Secret Service were stationed on the roofs, which are sloped with a much sharper angle than the opposing roof. And that other roof should have been covered, or a roof, one of the roofs behind that at least, so that you can form a triangle line of fire. They only had two. They only had two lines of fire. But that's the excuse now. Oh, the tree was in the way from both of our spotters' positions. This is the latest. And it says CBS News confirmed. CBS News confirmed. I love it. So there we are. A tree may have prevented one of the sniper teams tasked with protecting President Trump at his campaign rally from clearly seeing the would-be assassin as he climbed on a roof and opened fire, according to CBS News analyst. The tree located between the shooter and the sniper team closest to him may have impaired the team's line of sight as he climbed onto the roof from where he fired multiple rounds. The sniper team, which was positioned on the roof over Trump's right shoulder, did not fire the shot that killed the gunman, two federal law enforcement told CBS News. A Secret Service sniper stationed in a building behind the former president fired one round, killing the gunman, according to multiple law enforcement officials. So nobody could see him, but they sure did hit him, though, didn't they? Just saying. Helter says there is a water tower that looms over the building roofs. Why no CS team or even a spotter posted on it is mind-boggling. I know. There's plenty of elevated positions there that you could pick, and nobody bothered. They just didn't bother. It's like, this is why people are speculating that a line of sight was, or a line of access was left open deliberately. That's why a lot of people are speculating that now. And again, you want to at least form a triangle. They've got two rooftops covered. They should have found a third position somewhere that gave them a good field of vision, and they did not do it. Dragon says, first they blame local police, now they blame a tree that grew in the wrong place. Yeah, that's right. It grew in the wrong place. Unbelievable. And Justin Case says, but then he couldn't get a clear view, so he climbed up on the roof instead and went. Yeah. But when he came out, they would have seen him. They would have seen him when he came out. He has to become visible at some point. At some point. Everyone else saw him. There's video footage of him and photographs and witnesses. Almost everybody saw him. But now it's the rooftops. Excuse me. Now it's the tree's fault. That explains everything. Why didn't I know this before? And here's a view from the other side. Oh, look at that tree in the way. There you go. And the two top boxes, the boxes that are at 11 and 12 o'clock there, are where the team is, or the teams were. And I guess they're saying that the 11 o'clock team couldn't see it all. And then the 12 o'clock teams, though, should have been able to see clearly and should have seen him. But you can see that you can see how flat that roof is, too, while they're saying it's sloped. It's actually pretty flat. And there's other higher, more elevated positions that somebody could have been stationed in and they were not. And Nature Nerd says, sketchy how there's counter snipers at these events if something goes wrong. And Flukeman says, characters from Police Academy would have done a better job. And Cyberjack, the nerve of those dang trees. No kidding. It's the tree's fault. You can clearly see in the photo that the tree grew there on purpose to block everything. That's what happened. That's what happened. Now I understand. It's perfectly excusable. So no reason whatsoever for the director to resign or even apologize. The tree was in the way. I get it now. But that other, actually, the building at the far right, the building that is at like 4 o'clock there, that would have been a good position. It looks nice and flat, and it gives you that triangle of coverage. That would have been a good place for another nest. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Zane wants to know why we're still on this, because that was revealed today. The new excuse is that a tree was in the way, and that's why nobody could see him. And Nature Nerd says, didn't this kid stare at the snipers, his scope at one point? How did he get that? How did he get this training? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he did or not. I'm not sure what he did. Or how accurate any of this is. Because you never know. You never know. You can't trust it. And then Flukeman says, if Trump becomes the next president, there's going to be one hell of an investigation. Trump is going to shred FBI and SS to find people involved. Yeah. Because they've done it to him. They've been tormenting him since he left office. They were tormenting him while he was in office. I'm sure he's going to bear a grudge, you know. And Kamala Harris said it on The View. We can't let Trump in because he's going to weaponize the Justice Department against all of us. And I'm like, isn't that what you've been doing? You're afraid of tit for tat is what you're afraid of. But Business Insider, here's your VP pick. Trump's pick for running mate, J.D. Vance, stirring new fears that the U.S. could abandon the Ukraine if they win the election. Who's afraid of that? Who's afraid of that? I'm not. I'm not. J.D. Vance has criticized U.S. support for the Ukraine amid his VP nomination. Vance argues U.S. aid to the Ukraine diverts resources from Taiwan and urges more European support. Despite the Trump-Vance stance, Zelensky said he will work with a potential Trump administration. I bet he'll try. Former President Donald Trump's rhetoric on Ukraine has triggered concerns in Kiev. And among U.S. allies and partners, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance's nomination for vice president on the Republican Party ticket is unlikely to alleviate those fears. Vance has been critical of U.S. support for Ukraine. And at the Munich Security Forum earlier this year, Vance said the U.S. should pivot from the Ukraine and Russia's war. Yeah. Quote, I certainly admire the Ukraine who are fighting against Russia, he said during a speech in May, but I do not think that it is in America's interest to continue to fund an effectively never-ending war in Ukraine. I agree. I agree. I mean, how much of our tax money do you want to take from us? Enough already. Enough already. We don't have any more. Monkey, everybody. Here he is. Monkey cat. Monkey break. Cat break. Again, this is the kitten that was found in a car engine. He had burns, but he's good now. All healed up and bouncing all over the place. All healed up and bouncing all over the place. Monkey said he's only 39. And that is significant, actually. It's good balance. He's a good choice in that respect. He is exactly half of Trump's age. So if anything happens to Trump, you've got a young guy. Also, if he does good, and he runs for president himself, he's young. He's young. And Tuck says, monkey, that's right. That's what I've been calling him. Monkey. Because he gets into everything. He gets into everything. So I've been calling him monkey. And right now he's under here messing with cables and he needs to move. He needs to go do something else. He needs to play with that fish. The toy fish. If he acknowledges it, that thing actually smells like a fish. It's weird. It's very weird. But I like that idea. I like that idea that he can that he is younger. I don't know a whole lot about him, but it's good balance. And he didn't pick somebody based on gender or race or anything like that to pander. But that's a very Democrat-like move. That's right out of the Democrat playbook. Oh, we'll pick someone based on race or gender, and we'll play that angle. And then they end up with somebody who can't do the job, which we're faced with a lot in government right now. We're faced with that a lot in government right now. Come here, troublemaker. Get out from under there. Come on now. Behave yourself. Monkey again, everybody. Here's his little paws. You can see the scars because it's permanently discolored now. Where the scabs were, but he's healed. They're just not going to turn black again. And Rodney made a $5 donation to the channel. Thank you, Rodney. Always appreciated. Goes a long way, of course, towards helping us with our feline friends. Flute Man says Trump once said he told Putin if he invades Ukraine, he'll nuke Russia. Oh, wow. I don't remember that. And Monkey says there's people trying to dog him for when he hated Trump, but there's a debate video when he said he used to hate Trump and realized with all of what's happening around him how the media is. Yeah, and I can see that. This is an older video. This one is an older story. It's from last week. It's something that we couldn't get to because there was so much going on. I just thought that it was fascinating, and I don't know if anyone's this story. So I wanted to share it real quick. ABC News. Police build a Lego heist case after $200,000 in sets were seized. This person stole $200,000 worth of Lego kits. Police in Oregon have recovered more than 4,000 stolen Lego sets valued at over $200,000 in a massive bust following a 3-month investigation. The seizure happened on July 3rd at approximately 12:30 p.m. when authorities from the Springfield Police Department in Eugene, Oregon, served a warrant to 47-year-old Amon Henriksen, the owner of Brick Builders, accusing him of knowingly purchasing new and unopened Lego sets that had been stolen from other local retail stores, according to the statement by the Springfield Police. And here's a picture. Here's a picture of all the kits that they took out of the guy's storage. 4,000 kits worth $200,000. I'm in the wrong line of work. New sealed Lego kit. Legos are expensive now. It's not like when we were kids. Some of those Lego kits are crazy expensive. That's a lot of Legos. In several instances, suspects stole hundreds of dollars worth of Lego sets and then immediately went to the Brick Builders store to exchange the stolen items for cash, most often at a fraction of their actual retail value. Well, that's how that works. You know, it's like going to the pawn shop. You'll be lucky to get 10% of the value. Authorities said in their statement announcing the bust, when interviewed, some suspects advised that Brick Builders staff knew the sets had recently been stolen. Officers learned that many of the suspects were utilizing the money they received to buy and use illegal drugs. You think? Why else do you think people shoplift this kind of stuff? Why do you think? Rodney says Lego is always expensive in New Zealand. The thing is, just because, or here's the thing, you arrested and detained some junkies who said that they stole sets and sold it to this guy, and because the junkies say he must have known, you say, oh, that's credible. Anything else they tell you, you don't believe it because they're drug addicts. But oh yeah, they knew we stole them Lego sets, man. They knew. Yeah, you believe that. He might have known. I don't know. I don't know if the retailer knew that these people were shoplifting these sets. I have no idea. But I just have an issue when they believe someone who otherwise would not be credible and use them as a witness. It's like the old bit with what do they call them? Jailhouse informants. A jailhouse informant testimony in court is almost always thrown out. It almost never goes through because they find out the guy made it up. You're going to try, the guy's sitting in prison. He's in prison for the rest of his life. You're going to believe anything he says in court? I don't think so. All People says, is it true Lego is currently pandering to alphabet causes? I believe that is correct. I believe that is correct. And Helter says it's interesting how Legos have become a valuable commodity. And Nature Nerd says, surprised the police use their resources to track Legos. Well, I mean, to be fair, though, they are ripping off local retailers. Those people who were stealing these sets were ripping off local retailers. So, I mean, that is part of their job description. Yeah, Tuck says addicts never lie. I know, huh? But if they said anything else, they wouldn't be credible. Nobody would believe them. But this, they decide they want to believe. This, they said they wanted to believe. And I just thought that was funny. I thought it was funny. Like I said, I'm in the wrong line of work. 4,000 Lego sets worth $200,000. Hell, I'll sell them for half price. I'll sell them for half price. You get a deal. You get a deal. I need the money. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Telegraph article. Not related, but also interesting. Amazon workers reject union recognition in a landmark vote. Wow. Wow. I would vote against it myself, too. I've talked about it before. Many of you are familiar with my experiences with unions and what I have to say about it. That I've never found them to be credible or even useful. I've never known them to be helpful. I've known them to cause more problems than they solve. So they voted it down. They said, no, we don't want a union. Amazon workers in Coventry have rejected a landmark deal to form a trade union in a blow to campaigners who called for the tech giant to recognize collective bargaining rights in the UK. Results published on Wednesday revealed that 49.5% of votes were in favor of a proposal put forward by the GMB union, which has vowed to launch legal challenges against the results. This was below the 50% threshold to pass. I do question it whenever something is split down the middle like that. Because that's been happening a lot in politics. Everything's a split decision now. I don't trust that. When it's that close, I feel like something is wrong. But they didn't get the result they want, and they want to sue. They want to take people to court. Union officials accused the U.S. company of union-busting activities in the run to the poll, claiming bosses had targeted workers with an unrelenting campaign of anti-union messaging. Well, why not? You're beating workers over the head with unrelenting campaigns of pro-union messaging. Have you ever seen these guys trying to promote? They're the worst. They're worse than the company. This allegedly included posters with QR codes that generated emails for workers to cancel their union membership. It also understood that GMB will raise the issue with the new Labor government, which is planning a new employment rights law to make it easier for workers to access union rights. I would vote against it. Tuck says while they loved Legos as a kid, they'd get into model railroads before Legos. Hey, model railroad kits are cool. And Helter says they'd be curious how legitimate the vote was or what underhanded tactics Amazon used. Who knows? I'm sure both of them did. You know what the union's really upset about? That Amazon was better at the underhanded tactics than they were. That's the real problem. It's like, you beat us at our own game. We're going to take you to court. That's what it is. Speaking of Amazon, I'll throw this up here again for those who did not see because I've corrected the link now. That is the Amazon link for the cats. Because I've been asked like a week or so ago if there's an Amazon wish list for the shelter cats. And when I set it up, I guess I did something wrong with it. It wasn't correct. This is the correct link. So I'll put that up there again in case anybody wanted that while we were on the subject. But yeah, that would be my guess, that Amazon beat them at their own game. Beat them at their own game. Oh, and Rodney made another donation to the channel. He says another few pennies towards the cute kitties. Thank you, Rodney. Always, always appreciate it. Again, and with Monkey here, you can see him right here. For those of you who are watching, sitting on the printer again. He brings us to 20 while we're waiting for the director of Halo House to recover from her surgery, because we have a few that are ready to go for adoption. They're all softened up, as it were. Nice, comfortable lap cats now, instead of being crazy. Dragon says they struggle to believe that the votes were not manipulated. With Amazon being that big and cash rich, they could be just hire enough people to vote for no, then dismiss them after the vote. Possible. It's possible. And Fluke Man says Amazon wants to control everything. I ordered Lego from their website and was very surprised Amazon delivered them. And yeah, they deliver they're trying to, they do have their own fleet of delivery trucks, usually locally operated if they're near an Amazon warehouse, so that they don't have to deal with any of the shipping services, which is smart business. That's just smart business, honestly. So I can't blame them for that. But yeah, unfortunately, when you get a company that turns into a juggernaut, they know that you can't push them around, like Walmart. Everybody hates Walmart, but they all shop there. They all shop there, don't they? This is another European article. This one surprised me. And this is a Metro article. And you might remember this. We talked about it a while back. Just Stop Oil protesters receive record jail terms for disrupting M25. Because you remember they were blocking highways and causing disruption. They did not get a slap on the wrist. These guys got steamrolled. Okay? It says 5 of the Just Stop Oil protesters have been jailed for planning to block the M25 motorway. The protesters, Roger Hallam, Daniel Shaw, Luis Lancaster, Lucia Whitaker, Diabreu, and Cressida Gethrin, agreed to cause traffic chaos by climbing over the gantries for days on end in November of 2022. The 5 defendants shouted, "We love you," when they were given their sentences. Hallam, one of the co-founders of Just Stop Oil, has been sentenced to 5 years. The other 4 were given 4-year sentences by Judge Christopher Heer. He said, quote, "The plain fact is that each of you some time ago had crossed the line from concerned campaigner to a fanatic. You have appointed yourselves as sole arbiters of what should be done about climate change. And the sentences are longer than those given to Just Stop Oil protesters Morgan Troland, who got 3 years, and Marcus Decker 2 years and 7 months for scaling the Dultford crossing. Because a lot of people, it was 45 people that were up in the gantries, and it closed down the motorway for 120 hours, which is why they were all arrested. And yeah, this guy looks crazy. Look at him. You know what's sad? He's about my age. I'll take that as a compliment. Still, they got real sentences. And these are just the bigger ones. These guys got 5 years apiece. It's not a slap on the wrist anymore. And the other ones got 3 and 4 years as they run down the list for disrupting that highway, or whatever, highway, byway, whatever this is. I'm not familiar with the motorway because I don't live in Europe. I don't live out there. But so much for Just Stop Oil. And these are some of their bigwigs, some of their organizers. But I'm glad to see that, because it's too much. The stupid crap that they get away with is incredible. And the more they get away with, the more they do, until they step in it. And these guys stepped in it. Maybe that'll slow down the other ones, because some of these people weren't that old. I mean, you look at the ages here. I know I saw it here somewhere. They had a list of people's ages. All right, here we go. 58, 38, 58, 35, and 22. Cressida Gethrin was 22. And those are the top 5 people who got 5-year sentences, and then it trickles down from there. The other 4 were given 4-year sentences, and then there's also the rest of the people got 2 and 3-year sentences. It says down here somewhere, because I did already read through this article a little bit. But there's been a lot of dumb stuff that they've been doing, and now they're getting a beating. Tuck says, why don't they block refineries or terminals? I know why. Yeah. Well, if they did that, they'd get in even more trouble. They would get in even more trouble if they did that, wouldn't they? They didn't think they were going to get in trouble for this, but they got buried. They got in a lot of trouble. 5 years, that's pretty significant. I don't know how good behavior works. And Donna says, no worries, Greta will go visit and write regularly. She might be joining them with her new political stances. She ain't worried about climate change anymore. She's on a different bandwagon now, and she gets arrested everywhere she goes. It's going to catch up with her sooner or later. Not that she can't afford it. Greta is pretty wealthy. She's pretty wealthy and pretty well taken care of, financially speaking. I wonder how many cars Greta owns. And if any of them are electric. If it says here anywhere. Well, I'm curious about it. She does own vehicles. But I'm not sure. I was hoping I could find something more directly and talk about that, because I've heard that she owns 6 vehicles and that they're not electric. But that's something I can look up for another time. And Puck says, in other news, it's pet adoption week at PetSmart. Is it? I wish they'd take some of mine. They won't do it. But they have their picks. Anyways, with that, I will go ahead and start signing off. Special thanks to Rodney for making a donation to the channel. Always appreciated. Again, you are listening to and/or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University on ScrewTube while I'm still here. And if I disappear, then you know what happened. I can also be found on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at noon. So with that, I will go ahead and start signing off. Special thanks again to everyone else who was able to join us here today. Hope you got something out of the conversation, as always. And I will see